Good morning, everyone. As I said, this is a session where I will be sharing some of my experiences. The way we prepared for this. I would call a lifetime memorable experience of going to the Himalayas and going to the base camp, and as well as some of the learnings that came out of this experience. Some of these learnings are obviously, related to the hiking, but majority of them are kind of life lessons that we all kind of realized how this kind of an experience can change your perception on things. So that's what I'm going to share. If there is any questions, or if you want to know more, or if you want me to cover something additional, feel free to interrupt me and let me know. So Everest Base Camp is considered, as you know, as one of the toughest treks in the world. And being an avid trekker myself, done quite a lot of trekking, done the national three peaks in the UK. We have done almost, we do, me and my family, we hike almost every other weekend. So this is something that we really like to do as an activity. We like being outdoors, the fresh weather, seeing the nature, and also, I enjoy photographing. So photography is one of my hobbies. So I do enjoy taking landscape and macro photography. So that's one of the reasons why we do a lot. And then this was on our bucket list for a very, very long time. As one of the toughest treks in the world, we wanted to do this. We had obviously a list of things that we would do in a certain order. Kili trek was supposed to happen before, but the way things worked out, this came out first, so we took this one up. It was actually an idea that came out when one of my close friends had been to the Everest Base Camp in 2022, and he came back and said, "Look, I want to do this with my friends and family." Last time he went with strangers, so he said, "I would love to do this with my friends and family." And then he said, "Well, let's not do the same route that he did." So we chose, as we were crazy people, we said we'll go the toughest route possible. So we chose the longest and toughest route to get to the ABC. I'll show you what it means. And obviously, most people coming in were professionals from all over the world, across 5 countries: UK, US, Dubai, India, and Australia. Pretty much everybody is a professional. So we said, okay, let's give ourselves a little bit of more, luxury than what normally people would do. So what does luxury means? So instead of traveling by flights, we choose helicopters, slightly better hotels. When it means better hotels, you get a toilet in your room. Otherwise, you'll have to use shared toilets. Uh, that's the luxury, by the way. When you go to that place, you'll find the small things that we take for granted are all luxuries there actually. So that's the kind of things that we said we will do. Instead of using tap water and filtering it, we said we'll use bottled water. That's a luxury. So that's the kind of luxury trip that we said we will go for. We did all the, route and made the travel bookings through our travel agent. Our travel agent is a company called Life Himalaya Trekking Company. So they are the ones who we asked to organize. So they are the ones who provided all the guides, the Sherpas, the porters, and everything. So then we were just a group of friends. So we said, oh, let's create a logo and let's give us a name. So we chose, almost 20, 30 names or so. Finally, everybody agreed on amateur ascender because we were not a professional group of climbers. So we said we'll give ourselves as amateur ascenders. I designed that logo that you see on the screen. And then we said, okay, let's get some t-shirts printed. And that's how it all started out. The preparation was quite tough because it is the toughest, one of the toughest treks. So you do need to physically, mentally, you need to prepare yourselves. So physically, it meant that we were hiking almost 15 to 20 kilometers for every weekend. At least for the last 4 months, we were hiking every weekend. And net climb, we were trying to do about 1,500 meters. 1,500 meters net climb at this altitude is almost equivalent to 500 to 750 meters of net climb in 4,500 meters kind of altitude, because we went up to 5,360, 5,380 altitude. So when you go higher on it, because the air becomes thinner, so it becomes more tougher for you to do what you would do at lower altitudes. And a lot of core training. So, we took ourselves a personal trainer. We're trained on it. The core training for at least 6 months was required. And then a lot of stretching. We had to make it a habit of getting into stretching because that's the best way to avoid injury to the body, especially when you're having such kind of a strenuous activity. Another thing that we did at home, easy to do, is take a backpack, put some weights into it, and just keep it at the bottom of the stairs. And every day, put that backpack on, climb 40, 50 times to your stairs up and down. It's an easy and simple way to, get yourselves ready before the actual hike itself. So we used to do quite a lot of these things because that's helped us to physically get ourselves, ready for a hike of this kind. Medically, there were a lot of things we had to do as well. So yoga is highly recommended, especially the two types of yogas, pranayama, which is a breathing exercise, and sudarshan kriya, which is also another type of breathing exercise. These two, probably we didn't do enough of it. We did a little bit, but we didn't do enough. If I was going to prepare for an activity of similar kind, I'll do a lot of this. Because what it helps is that helps your lungs to manage to breathe and manage at your body to manage at a lower oxygen content air. So, which is very, very important because you are in such high altitudes. You don't know whether you'll get altitude sickness or not. Nobody knows. Each of our bodies are different. So, the fittest person can also actually get the altitude sickness. So, these two yogas actually help you. This is the only known way of preparing yourselves for higher altitude, especially for altitude sickness. There is no other way. These two yogas are the only way. Then medically, because we went with a group of doctors, so out of the 21 people in the group, I think we had 15 doctors, and all of them were of different specialties. Orthopedics, you had anesthesists, you had gastroenterologist, ophthalmologist. So you can name it. All sorts of doctors were there in the group. So it was almost like walking with we were with a walking hospital. That's what we used to joke. And the doctors, especially some of the specialists, they said, you do need to take some medicines for preparing yourselves for the, higher altitude. Diamox, which is acetazolamide, was something that was recommended, and it only kicks in 2 days after you start taking every day. So we were recommended to start 2 days before the trek and end 2 days after the trek, so that the body gets to wind down as well. So that is something we just took one tablet every day in the morning, and really, none of us actually had altitude sickness. So I don't know whether it was the tablets or the preparation that we did, but fortunately, fingers crossed, none of us had any problems with altitude. We had other problems, but not altitude. The other problem with altitude is you will lose your appetite. Now, that I personally did not realize. And I'm being a diabetic myself. I do take diabetic medicines regularly. So I continue to take my diabetic medicine as I was taking here. And what I didn't realize was I was eating less and less because of loss of appetite. So the food being less, physical activity being more, already had drained the blood sugar in my body. And then my diabetic medicine drove the blood sugar levels even further down. For one of the toughest days of the hike, I became hypoglycemic. So my sugar levels went down, and that day was the worst day for me in the hike. So especially anybody with regular medications, consult your doctor. Don't just look at medicine and cross impact with other medicines like Dianox, but also consider environmental factors like loss of appetite and how that can impact the medicine that you're taking. General recommendation for diabetics is, especially people with higher sugar levels, the physical activity itself is so much, the blood sugar levels will anyway naturally be brought down because the physical activity will bring it down. You don't need to take medicines at all. So after that day, and because all the doctors who were there said, just stop your diabetic medicine. So I completely stopped my diabetic medicine after that. I was absolutely fine after that day. Psychologically, this is going to be the biggest challenge for those people who might be physically fit, medically fit, but can have psychological problems. There are a lot of hardships that you'll get to, physical hardships. It's very cold, no heating. You might get a cold. If you get a cold, your nose gets blocked. I mean, I had 4 days of nose block where I couldn't sleep flat because my nose, when I couldn't breathe, I lay flat. So I had to sleep for 4 nights sitting up. So a lot of these kind of The physical hardships will be there. Sometimes you feel, what the hell am I doing? I don't need to be doing this, and don't give up. It's all about the strength is here. So just keep yourself strong. Meditation helped me. I don't know. It's different for everybody, but definitely for me, meditation helped a lot. And you start to build yourself some expectation that saying that you're not going to get luxuries. As I said, simple luxuries are what we consider as basics here. So you'll not have electricity. You'll be sleeping in sleeping bag. It'll be very cold. You'll be going into temperatures of minus 15, minus 16 kind of temperatures. There'll be no running water at all because all these places are simply places built in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around. So you'll not have running waters. You'll be using Indian toilets in many places. You'll not have Western toilets. And you'll be eating veg food mainly because the meat is not stored in a refrigeration. It's not refrigerated. So which means it's not recommended to eat anything other than vegetarian food, and eggs are the only thing that are recommended outside because that can survive without refrigeration. So almost everybody skip meat for the entire duration. So the most popular food that you get is something called dal bath, which is basically white rice, dal, the lentil soup, some boiled vegetables, the curry that you get by mistake. And that's what the locals eat. And that's what you get plentiful everywhere. You do get other choices. If you go to some better restaurants, you might get you know some noodles and fried rice, noodle soup and stuff like that. But it's vegetarian food. So these are the kind of things that you need to set yourself. So the route itself, we had planned a 12-day route, and the route that we had planned was through something that we call as three passes route. Three passes route is you start. So let me explain how it works. So majority of the people who go to base camp from the Nepal side, because there's a base camp on China side, which you can just drive all the way up. So if you want to hike, Nepal is supposed to be the best place. So you go to Lukla for that. So when you go to Lukla, in Lukla is basically a place higher up in the mountains. It's supposed to have a airport which is supposed to be the world's most dangerous airport. That's what they call it. Uh, that airport you land in, and from there you start your hike. From Lukla to Pakling to Namche Bazaar. This route is common for everyone. Everybody goes through the same route. Once you go to Namche Bazaar, you then have multiple, three choices at least to go. Majority, 80% of the people take the right route. So from Namche Bazaar, they go to Dingoche, Pangoche, sorry, Tengoche, Pangoche, Dingoche, Labuche, and then Gorakshe and Everest Base Camp. So 80% of the people take this route. Now, this is what my friend had done in 2022. So we said he wanted to do the three passes route, slightly more challenging, more scenic, but more challenging, physically straining. We said, okay, we will do that. So that route, you go to the left. So from Namche Bazaar to Thame, Lungden, via the Rinjola Pass to Gokio, and from Gokio via the Chola Pass to Nongla. Then from there, you go to Labuche. So the third route is supposed to be the middle route. So the route that we had chosen to say the second route, which I said is 12 days hike. The third route from Namche Bazaar, you go to Dole, from Dole to Gokyo, and from Gokyo again you go to this road via Chichola Pass and go to Labuche. So we chose the toughest one this way, but obviously things had to change because a lot of things did not go as per our plan. So we had to really change the routes, replan some of the things due to weather and other considerations, which I'll explain. So that was the route that we chose. The arrival itself was very nice in Kathmandu. Kathmandu is a fantastic place to get to. I really loved Kathmandu. This was my first visit. Great, places to see, experience some of the cultural things, as well as, just general sightseeing was great. We just got a day to do some sightseeing there before we had to do all the receive all the kits, get all the preparation, get all the briefings from the travel company and all of that. Then we had to go to Lukla to start. Now, things went wrong right from that point onwards. The weather was bad. Not all the aircrafts were flying. Drukla Airport was closed for some time. Not all helicopters were flying. So we were 21 people. We were divided into teams of five each because each helicopter can take five people. So we were going in five different helicopters in five teams. So on day one, various routes were followed to finally three teams made it to Surke. They couldn't go to Lukla. Now, Surke is about 5 kilometers behind Lukla, about 300 meters below the altitude of Lukla. So that means that whatever we had planned to walk, it increased by 5 kilometers on that day. And also it increased the climb by 300 meters. So it basically just threw all our plans up in there on day one itself. And then two teams, which I was part of, one of the teams, could not make it to Sulki at all. So those two teams were stayed back in Kathmandu and had to go the following day. So that means the team that I was in and another team, we were a day behind the rest of the group to get to, and we also went to Surkey only. We couldn't go to Lukla. So what is the learning that we got from that? So things will not go as per plan. So there was a general who said all the great plans are only valid till the first shot is fired, right? In war. The moment the first shot is fired, all your plans go out of the window. And that means you need to be able to replan and to be able to adapt to the situation. So one of the life lesson is always have lots of contingency plans, plan B, plan C, plan D. It's not always things will go as per your plan. So this was an amazing instance where we found nothing worked, and half the team is a day behind. The other half is in some other place and not the place that they had to be, and then they had to make up for it and walk more and climb more. So some great photographs, as you can see here, us being in the helicopters. The helicopters didn't make it in one go because of bad weather. It landed up in the middle of nowhere. So here we were. The helicopter landed in the middle of nowhere in the valley. We didn't know whether it's going to take off, if it's going to take off, whether it's going to we are going to go back to Kathmandu or are we going to go to the destination. But it was all worth it. The amazing sceneries that we had that day, and finally we reached this hotel in Pagding. So this is what is called as a tea house. Usually a tea house is like this, a small restaurant. In the center you have this uh, which your energy fireplace with which gives you a little bit of heat. You all sit around and they just serve you food and drinks. Now this is one of the luxurious tea houses. Other ones are even more basic than this. So this is the kind of places that you basically stay and eat in. And most of the rooms that you stay in is very basic, two single beds, no plug points, no heaters. Majority of them don't even have attached toilets. So you'll be sharing toilets outside. If it's a luxury one, you'll probably get a toilet attached to you. If you need to take a shower, you need to book outside and separately go for a shower. And most of these are powered through solar power. So solar power means they've got batteries that will store the power, and most batteries will run dry by 10, 11 in the night. So after 10, 11 in the night, you have no lights. So even to go to the toilets, once you get up, you have to use your head torches and use that. So then the next day we walked from Pagding to Namche, which is one of the toughest days. We walked about 13 kilometers. We had 1,300 meters climb, but it's probably the most scenic day of all days that you will find. In the sense, from a greenery point of view, you will get more scenery from a hills point of view, but from this, it's greenery point of view, this was one of the best days. We entered the national park, Sagarmatha National Park. Sagarmatha is the name given to Mount Everest by the local Nepalese. The local Nepalese don't call it as Mount Everest, they call it as Sagarmatha. Sagarmatha means, Mata means mother, so Sagar means mountain, so mother of the mountains. That's what they call it as in the local language. So we entered the Sagarmatha National Park on day two when we walked from Pagding all the way to Namchi Bazaar. Great day, and you will find lots of suspension bridges on that day. One of the most famous suspension bridges also you'll find the Hillary Bridge. And you will go to Namche Bazaar, which is a big town. It is the hub, the biggest town in the region. So everybody goes there. You get everything, from in that little town. You get showrooms of all famous brands in there. So it's kind of a most famous place to go. One of the things that we learned is, climbing is not something that we are used to. When we walk here in UK, we like to climb fast. You want to go fast and reach the mountains. That's not the way you do it when you're up in the higher altitudes. The locals, the Sherpas, actually tell you you need to go Vistare Vistare. That means slow and steady. Slow, slow. That's what Vistare Vistare means. They say slow, and the other thing that they say is one step, one breath. So for every step, you breathe in and or you breathe out. So one step, one breath. One step, one breath. Once you get into that kind of a rhythm, actually the climb is easy on the body. It doesn't strain you, and you can actually reach your destination in a being fresh and doesn't drain your in energy. So that is something that we learned. So one of the life lessons is, life is we make life too fast. So just take it slowly, and you don't have to think about, how am I going to do this, which is a month ahead or a week ahead. Take each day as it comes. Each, be in the moment, handle that challenge, and then move on to the next. If we do that, that's what helps. So same thing with climbing mountains. Don't worry that you have to reach more. If you see the final destination, oh bloody hell, how am I going to reach that place? Don't think. Just look at the next climb, next climb, next climb. Just manage that and go vistare vistare, and you'll finally reach your destination. And that was the learning that we had. So you can see some photographs of day two. You can see that's at the back. That's the hanging bridge that we were talking of, the walking bridge. So we climb all the way till the cross, and then climb, go up, 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 and the Namchi Bazaar is in that mountain behind. So that's how we went. This is the Dudkoshi River. It's amazing river actually. The river valley is fantastic as you climb. The terrain is something like this as you climb. This was just before we entered Namchi Bazaar and toll gate. This is Namchi Bazaar. This is the gate of Namchi Bazaar. Great day actually. I mean, really loved this day. Just one more thing. He was our main chef, our main guide, who was guiding all 21 of us. He took care of all the routes and other things. He had his assistants and porters and all helping us. So day three was acclimatization day, which is basically, going up. So acclimatization means it's not like it's a rest day. You basically climb up to half the altitude of where you would be the following day, and then you climb down and come back and rest. So it is called as hike up and rest low. So that is what acclimatization is. So you get your body to get used to the higher altitude, but then you give a breather to your body to bring it by bringing it back to the lower altitude, and you rest that night. Next day you go to double that altitude so that you're then used to that altitude. That's the way. And we took multiple acclimatization days. The first acclimatization day was here in Namchi Bazaar. Second acclimatization day was in Gokio. And then the third acclimatization day as per plan was in Zongla, yes. And then finally we'll reach the Everest Base Camp. That was the original plan. Obviously, some things changed. We didn't go here. At least some of us didn't go here, and I'll explain that. So day three, people hiked. We went up to 3962 meters altitude. Now the two teams that were a day behind, myself and the other team, we did not get the acclimatization because that was the day we caught up with the rest of the group, and we met them in Namchi. So we lost that an acclimatization rest day altogether because we were a day behind. So that's how you need to replan and kind of make up for it. And it's a Hotel Everest View where the team hikes up to for acclimatization. It's an absolutely fantastic place. I myself haven't seen. My wife saw, and it's the world's highest five-star hotel. This is the highest altitude of a five-star hotel that you will get in the world. You go there, it's fabulous. Apparently, uh, great food, great sceneries from there. You can see the photographs here, and people sit there and enjoy. Day four was Namchi Bazar to Thane. It was not a big day, relatively shorter day, 10 kilometers hike. Nothing especially for people who are used to 20 kilometers of hiking every day. So 10 kilometers. We also visited the Tenzing Memorial on the way, which gives one of the best views of Mount Everest, Lhotse, and other peaks. And Thame is very famous because Thame is the native village for many of the famous Sherpas that we know, including Tenzing. Okay, the person who, along with Edmund Hillary, were the first two people to climb Mount Everest. So actually, Thame is quite famous as the village of famous Sherpas. Yes, so it was a simple day, 10 kilometers, good climb, not a very tough day. And as you can see, some great photographs here. This is the Tenzing Memorial, place from where you can see the Mount Everest. So that's me pointing to Mount Everest. We walked there, so you can see the weather was actually quite misty. So as you were walking in some of the places, we could hardly see beyond 10, 20 meters. So this was a hanging bridge. We couldn't even see where it was going to. It's so foggy. And we saw some wildlife as well. We saw some mountain goats along the way. So really nice day. Day five was from Thame to Lungan, an important day because we were climbing from 3,800 meters to 4,400 meters, like 600 meters climb. So we are now in serious business of going into higher altitude. We crossed the 4,000 meters. 4,000 meters is a kind of an important thing because the landscape changes. There are no trees beyond 4,000 meters altitude. So it's mainly bushes. So wind is heavy. There's no trees to stop the wind. So the weather can get choppy at times. So 4,000 was important stage for us. So rocky terrain because there were no trees. And we reached Lundin, which is a very, very small village, some 10 houses, often six or seven of these tea houses. There's nothing much more than that. It's very, very cold because it's on the side of the valley, so quite windy, extremely cold place to stay in. And that was a very, very basic accommodation as well. You didn't have anything in that place. So, but we managed there. Um, I think one of the things that I faced was, as I said, I had a blocked nose and I was not able to lay down on the streets. And whatever medicines that I took, I've taken a lot of medicines from here, say, and Vicks and stuff like that. Nothing worked. And then finally, the Sherpas gave me one of their local medicine, which was herbal medicine, which when you apply it, it's called Chanjo. Just a few, just a dip here, completely cleared my nose and the chest. I think one of the learning I had was when you actually go into these kind of places, you need to learn about the local traditions, local medicines, and what works locally and adopt that. And as we say, be a Roman in Rome. So it's all about understanding what the local things are and being able to follow what they follow. And if you do that, I think we'll find it's easier to manage things. So again, you can see some of the photographs here of this place. As you can see, it was getting cold, so we are all completely covered up. Yeah, everything is fully covered up. You can see the landscape as well. Literally no trees, mainly bushes, rocky and quite windy as well. You can see a photograph of the kind of accommodation that we stayed in. As I said, two single bed, literally nothing else other than that. Day six, again we went from Gokio to Gokio via the Ranjola Pass. Toughest day of our hike. 11.3 kilometers of hike. We are climbing in ascent of 4,000 meters. We crossed one of the toughest passes in the world, Ranjola Pass. Ranjola Pass itself is at 5345, which is as high as the base camp that we climbed. And the this particular trek is rated as the toughest trek in the world. So in the trek ratings, you'll get uh, you know out of 10, they will give a score. This is rated 9.9, and then they give stars, and it's rated with 3 stars. It's one of the toughest treks, and it's very, very challenging as well. And a lot of people faced problems. So three of them actually had to take horses. because they were not able to climb some of, I mean, not the entire stretch, just one small stretch because it was extremely challenging that particular stretch. So we had the option of taking horses. Only 3 or 4 of them took the horses. And this was the day I was telling where I became hypoglycemic. And it's not the best thing to do, best thing to have when you are on the toughest day, toughest climb, one of the toughest places in the world. And I made it still. But by the time I made it to the destination, it was 7 o'clock in the night. And others had reached at around 5 in the evening. So I was about 2 hours behind them. I was alone. Just I had Sherpa with me. And the two of us made it. I was not the last. There were people who came 2, 3 hours after me as well. So I think you will face these kind of challenges. I think the learning from that is, despite the challenges and tough target that you get, we need to persist in a steady manner, as I said, slow and steady. And that will actually what will help us to overcome all these challenges to make it to our destination. Just as you can see from here, it shows you the location. Now, once you cross 5,000 meters altitude, there's literally no vegetation, not even bushes. As you can see here, there's nothing there, completely barren land. And this is already, we were about 4,800 or 4,900 altitude. And you can see we had to go to Renjala Pass, which is here. We had to climb all the way like this, going like this and all the way up here. That's Renjala Pass. This is halfway through. And once you go to the top, this is the view from the top. You can see the Gokio Lake there on the other side. And you can get a view of the Mount Everest and absolutely fabulous sceneries all around. So it's one of the most scenic places actually that you can get to. Then we had a rest day or acclimatization day in Gokyo. Now, it was called an acclimatization day, but we didn't have to acclimatize because, as you know, we already climbed up to 5,345 meters and had climbed down to Gokyo, which was at 4,700. So, anyway, we had already done what was required to do to get acclimatized. So, it was decided, and because we had the toughest days, the acclimatization climb to Gokyo, which is a mountain at 5,400, it was made optional. Only 4 or 5 people who were hardcore, techies, they went up. Otherwise, most of us took rest and we stayed in a resort. We were in actually a very nice resort in Gokyo. So, because it was a very nice resort, it had a TV, so we were able to watch the live telecast of India Pakistan World Cup match. Good food. It had a very good bakery, so we could get some good cakes. We celebrated 2 birthdays ordering a big cake and cut the cake. So it was really nice actually that we got to spend there. And then we got weather forecast for the following route. The Chola Pass, which was from Tagnak to Zongla, which is going to be tougher than Ranjola Pass, we found that it had snowed in. So there was heavy snows and ice. So we were debating what to do. So not then the option was given to say, okay, there is an alternate. We can take a route around it, but it will increase the hiking distance by about 45 kilometers. Or you can go to the planned route, which will be shorter but tougher because of the weather and snow and ice. So out of 21, 3 people decided that they will pursue the same route that was originally planned. And 18 of us decided to take the longer but less risky route. So that's how, again, you need to face these adverse conditions, be prepared, in a position to plan, replan, reroute, reschedule, but still make it on time. We were all, we had to do all this and then still make it on time because we had all our travel bookings and we couldn't risk to go late. So that's what we did. And 18 of us went through this route, which is on the red parts here. And 3 went through this yellow dotted line to Labuche. So we met, the full team met again in Labuche. And then in Gokyo itself, beautiful view. So you can see people who went up to Gokyo, they got a sunset view of Everest. Beautiful sight. This is us sitting and watching the live telecast of the cricket match. Nobody had ever watched a live telecast of a match there. So we had to get the TV set up, tuned in so that we could we were able to watch the match. The ladies thought it's rest day, so they had all brought their saris. So they got their saris and did a reel in on the banks of this Gokio lake. So we really had a nice, relaxing time on that day. Day 8 was Gokyo to Dole. As I said, this was the reroute. So we were climbing down from 4,700 to 4,000 meters. It was a big steep climb, total net descent of 900 meters. Long day because we were trekking 13.2 kilometers. But because we were descending, we were absolutely fine. We reached Dole well in advance. So it was absolutely fine. We were, made it, come. But only one thing to note is just because it's easier because you're climbing down, it doesn't mean it is safer because climb down is always risky. It's very strenuous on your knee. One person actually had an injury because of which we had to get a helicopter to fly him, and another two people who were, health sick in Gokyo, they had to fly in as well. So we had to have alternate arrangements to fly them by helicopter to go to Dingboche so that when they went to Dingboche, we could meet them there. So three people had those kind of injuries. So you need to be, just because something is easier doesn't mean it's safer. Safety always comes first. You need to take safety really well, especially on the knees when you're climbing down. And again, scenic views, lots of nice rivers as you go, very beautiful sceneries as you can see, through the valleys. So this is a view in the Dole Valley that you can see. So then Dole to Pangoche. So beautiful hike through rhododendron fields. Rhododendron is Nepal's national flower. So they have grow abundantly below the 4,000 meters altitude. So we could see the whites and the red rhododendrons in that stretch. Tough day hike, 11 kilometers, and we had a very narrow ridge walk, and that ridge walk can give you, especially people with vertigo, the fear of heights. It can be quite challenging, but it was tough. We did it. Deep chasms were there, so we had to constantly support people who were finding it stressful on their minds. We walked from Dole to Pangochi, and that was again a net ascent of 700 meters that we had to do. And also we had a descent of 830 meters. So net we climbed down, but overall we had to climb. It was like, climb up and climb down. If you ask Nepali Sherpa, they'll say it's flat. What they mean by flat is it goes up and down. So that's why it's called Nepali flat. So flat means you're climbing up, climbing down, climbing up, climbing down. So again, as you can see the photographs, beautiful. We are now below 4,000 meters. Greenery is back, trees are back, beautiful scenic valleys actually. And we ended up that day quite well in advance in Pangoche. Day 10 was Pangoche to Dingoche. Dingoche is another bigger towns. People usually taking the normal route, 80% of people who take the route from Namche Bazaar to Tengoche, Pangoche, Dingoche, they take a acclimatization day in Rinpoche. So that's why it's equipped to handle people staying over. So bigger place, lots of bigger hotels, more luxurious hotels than other places. Short day for us. Pangoche to Rinpoche is just a 6 kilometers hike. We finished in a couple of hours and 420 meters of climb. Nothing actually. So we started a bit late. We reached there quite early by midday. We had all the day to enjoy. They had, because it's a bigger day, they even have a very nice European style cafe called Cafe 4410 in the middle of the Himalayas. No, it's amazing actually when you go in there. You walk in, everything is like as if it's a cafe in Europe. And you'll be wondering, where am I actually? But you're in the middle of the Himalayas. But it was really nice. So we played some games, some nice coffee, and generally relaxed because it was a short day. This is the cafe I was talking to you about, Cafe 4410. It's called 4410 because that's the altitude that it's at. 4,410 meters. So as you can see here in the photographs, it looks like you're in any European city sitting in and having a cup of coffee in a cafe. It's beautiful actually, and you can see the whole town of Dingboche here. It's quite a big town. It's not like small villages of 10, 15 houses. It's quite big. It was really nice. And then the 11th day, the penultimate day was Dingboche to Lubuche. So it's a relatively easier day. 8 kilometers. It's a little tough. I mean, by then we were quite used to 8 kilometers was nothing for us. We went to another pass, Tukla Pass. Not as tough as Renjola or the Chola Pass, but it's another one of those three passes. So really nice. We went through that. We got close to 5,000 back again. So we had already been to 5,000. We climbed down, and now we are back closer to 5,000 meters. When we went to Lobuche. And one of the things in Tukla Pass is they built a memorial for all those mountaineers who lost their lives in pursuit of Mount Everest and other Himalayan peaks. Really, eerie place. When you go there, you've got hundreds of those memorials there, and with plaques of who is it that who has given their lives. People from all over the world, in all countries. When you go and visit there, it's really, really, it hits you when you see that. So again, as you can see the photographs, you get some really nice photographs there. This is the Kutla Pass at the memorial is. The valleys are amazing. This is a valley that we walk along. Nice sceneries, and this is again the Tukla Pass with memorial at the back. So great place and great sceneries. Then comes the last and final day, which is the Labuche to Gorakshep. This day we hike. It's one of the tough days because we hike 13.1 kilometers and we are above 5,000 meters. So the air is thin, walking in very high altitude, but you got the longest distance to hike. So we hiked. We net ascent is not more. It's 450 meters, but it's actually quite tough. 450 meters at 5,000 plus meters altitude is quite challenging. So we walked from Labuche all the way to Gorakshep, where we had our afternoon lunch. And then from Gorakshep, we walked to Everest Base Camp 5360, 5364. And then from there, we walked back to Gorakshep because there's nothing in base camp. You can't stay. So you had to walk back to Gorakshep and stay in Gorakshep. That's the only place where you have tea houses to stay. So again, everybody was totally gung-ho. That's the final prize. Lot of Jewish, lot of vigor. We did it amazing. And four of the teams, 18, 21, were so enthusiastic. They, after they finished the base camp, instead of directly walking back to Gorakshep, they walked they climbed another mountain called Palapattar. From there, you can get very good views of the Mount Everest, sunset and sunrise. So they did that and then came back to Gorakshep. And remaining 17 of us just got back to Gorakshep. I don't think we were in any state to climb another big mountain, Kalapattar. But yeah, three or four of them did that actually. And you can see here amazing views. The base camp itself has got nothing. You just have this rock with Everest Base Camp written. You get some beautiful views. You can see here some great, amazing views. Here you can see Everest at the back. That's Everest. Really, really great place from that point of view. And it was like an achievement finally reaching there, having dreamt about it for over a year, prepared for it, and taken all the trouble and struggle. It was mission accomplished for it. So really great day, actually. And then the last 13th day, we just got back to Kathmandu. So you fly back. We had planned a fly back by helicopter route. So from Gorakshep, you fly to Kariche. Because of the Nepalese air restrictions from at that altitude above 5,000, only two passengers are allowed in the helicopters. So from Gorakshep, we had to come to 4,300 meters altitude, a place called Periche. So the same helicopter first took two people, dropped, went back, collected two more, came back to Periche, and picked up the two that they had dropped, and then dropped the people back in Lukla. So Lukla is the base, so we all had to come back to Lukla, and from Lukla, we made our way back to Kathmandu by helicopter. So we had chosen to take helicopters, as I said, instead of flight, purely because the weather window is bigger for helicopters compared to the aircraft. So by 12 noon on day 13, all 21 of us were back in Kathmandu. And all of us had made it to base camp. It's great. Nobody had, missed out the base camp. Though three people had injuries and they had to skip some destination by going by helicopter, but everybody made it to the base camp. Probably going to be one of the best days for us, best experiences for us. So this is Lukla basically, where you can see the helicopters. series of helicopters in there. So we had a buffer day planned as well in Kathmandu, just in case weather played spoil sport with any schedules. We enjoyed that buffer day by spending going around Kathmandu. So again, learning is always have plan for contingencies. Be prepared for the worst. You don't expect everything will go as per plan. So have those contingencies in time and other things. That's the learning. And it was good that we had this buffer day. Had anything happened, this buffer day would have actually been used. So that's the learning that uh, from that. And this is some views of Kathmandu on our buffer day because we were a day ahead. I mean, on plan, so we didn't need the buffer day. So just enjoyed Kathmandu. I got a day to enjoy Kathmandu more. And because it was Navratri, we were able to go and see the Aarti on the river side as well. So conclusion, actually, it's been a absolutely deep and insightful trip. Because once you're up in the mountains and walking, you're not talking that much. Because today you talk a little bit when you're got the breath, you probably sing a song. But most of the times you're alone. When you're alone, walking amongst those mountains, you're just thinking. You're thinking inside. You look inside your mind, and a lot of things. It starts to that introspection actually is an amazing thing. It's people use the word transcendental. It was transcendental. The kind of experience that we had. You're thinking about yourself, your experiences, your life. What is happening, how it's and that kind of things is amazing. And when we think of sages and monks and gurus who go up in the Himalayas starting nirvana, I mean, you begin to think that makes sense. That place is amazing. It makes you think inside while you're still enjoying the amazing external vista. You're still looking inside your mind. So that was an amazing experience for me. I mean, I enjoyed. That's why I enjoyed outdoors because of that kind of experience you get. That was it. I hope it was useful for you all, and you all enjoyed listening to me. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.